57% of Brits in a recent survey said that moving home is the most stressful thing you can do in your life. A stat that blew my mind. However, in this video, I'm going to give you my 7 tips of different questions that I would ask an estate agent at the point of getting a valuation. And for many, getting a valuation is the initial part of getting your property sold and then inevitably moving on to the house of your dreams that you're looking for. It shouldn't be stressful if you use the right people, but the estate agent does have a big influence in the stress levels. That being said, you could say the same for the mortgage broker on a certain scale, and definitely the conveyancer has got something to do with the stress when it gets to the legal transaction as well. However, in this video, here's my 7 questions. Question number 1, what you always want to check is after the estate agent has given you the valuation, is that the price that I'm going to get on my property, or is that the marketing price? This is a key question because, as we know, in the UK, estate agents don't have the best reputation, and more often than not, that is because on this initial sales pitch, as they call it, for you it's a property valuation, for them it's a sales pitch. What they're looking to try and do is tie you into a legal binding contract for as long as possible, giving them the best opportunity of getting their commission. So to do that, sometimes they oversell you on the marketing price, lock you in for a 4, 5, 6 month agreement, and then look to reduce the price to make their job that little bit easier after you're locked in. So watch out for that and ask the question, is that a marketing price or an achievable price? Really key question. Question number 2. What is the best marketing plan that you're going to put in place to achieve the best possible price on my house? Now, if you see an estate agent start to squirm a little bit on the sofa to the point of that question, what that often means is they're just going to try and sell you the dream, pressure you into a contract, and potentially they don't have the skills, the understanding, the knowledge of the science of marketing. And in this day and age, there's so many different ways that you can get eyeballs to your property and inevitably give yourself the best chance of finding the right buyer at the right price. When you look at social media, look at videography, you look at the different ways that portals want things laid out in terms of descriptions and bullet points. There's so many different ways to market a property. Not all estate agents do the same thing. It's the biggest myth. And it's something that from a generation above me, maybe in the 80s, it was a fair comment, but it's not anymore. The world is different. Question number 3. Who's going to actually be conducting the viewings? After all of that hard work has gone into the marketing, you've tidied up your property for an appointment, you've got your house looking amazing for the photos and the video. Who's going to be conducting the viewing? You've worked so hard to get that opportunity of a potential buyer coming through the door of your home. You want to make sure that that buyer is going to be given the best advice, going to be given all the information that you've shared on the valuation, and that the estate agent is going to sell your property to the best possible light it's got. The opportunity in, I would say, this market is very different to what it was in the pandemic times, where it was quite easy. Now for estate agents, it's a little bit different. You've got to be knowledgeable, you've got to understand the goals, and you've got to make sure you're asking the right questions. So who's conducting the viewing? Is it the person that sat in front of you, the estate agent on the valuation? Is it their manager? Is it a senior figure within the branch? Or is it a trainee that's never seen the house, never owned a property? Is it a weekender that's on £11 an hour that's just there to open the door and let someone through? Really important question. You find out who's coming around to your home to do the viewings to potentially secure that buyer for your property. Question number 4. Question number 4. You really want to be in a position where you're able to ask who is going to be dealing with you from start to finish. Now, communication has been the #1 complaint in estate agency for over 2 decades. And I'm a big believer in that's why 57% of Brits have found it quite a stressful thing to do. Communication shouldn't be the #1 complaint. And if you look at how they do things in the US and in Australia, Canada, South Africa, it's a single point of contact in most occasions. A real estate agent that you'll deal with from start to finish. You deal with them on the mobile, WhatsApp, in group conversations, but you're not being passed from pillar to post, from department to department. And in the UK, we've got it all wrong. Estate agency is very, very departmentalised, which unfortunately results in you being passed from pillar to post, department to department, and inevitably person to person. And there's nothing more frustrating than when you've got an urgent question and you're just ringing answer phone after answer phone, or the office is shut and you can't get hold of anyone until the next day, or even worse, you've got a desperate question at 6 o'clock on a Friday and it's a bank holiday, so you're not going to speak to someone for 4 days. Never needs to be the case. At Avocado Property, we deal with you from a real estate agent point of view, much like they do in the US, which means you can contact on WhatsApp, we can speak in group chats with Mr. and Mrs. and whoever else is in the transaction. Life's that little bit easier. But anyway, I'm not here to sell on this video, I'm just trying to help you. Let's get on to question 5. What do you think is the most likely reason that my property won't sell? I think it's so important in this day and age that you hear people's opinions. Get that estate agent off the fence, take the splinters out and start to listen to their opinion. An estate agent could come round and just sell the dream out of any property. They are inevitably good salesmen or women. But what you want to know is the reasons why it may not sell. What are the things that you could do to improve it before viewings come round, before photos are taken, that might help you get maximum value on your property? That's a really, really good question to see how good that estate agent is. So make sure you ask that question at some point. Another B plan question is, what are you going to do if the property is not selling? Let's say it's been on the market for 6 weeks, you've had a couple of viewings, no offers. What's the B plan for that estate agent? What are they capable of doing? Shifting, pivot the marketing? What are they going to do in a change of direction to try and bring people to your property that isn't just a straight case of let's reduce the price? Of course, that's the easy way, but there's a lot of extra things that you can do in a estate agency, as mentioned before, especially in this day and age, that can have a huge impact in A, the price that you achieve, and B, the amount of traction and volume of viewings that come through the door. So ask that question. What's your B plan? What's your backup? What are you going to do if it's not selling? And another hook question that I think is really good, and this is the 7th question and my last question that I would always say ask an estate agent is, what's the type of buyer that you're expecting to get on my property? When you ask this question, you're really going to find out a lot about that agent. Have they really looked into a target audience for your property? Have they sold previous properties and they've seen a trend in the type of demographic of buyer that's coming to buy that home? And you're really going to get a good understanding of whether they understand the local market and in particular your marketplace for your property. So ask that question. What type of buyer do you think is going to buy my home? And again, if they squirm, you're probably finding someone that's inexperienced and someone potentially you wouldn't trust to sell your potentially most financially prized asset. There are 7 questions that hopefully help. Don't be in that bracket of 57% of Brits that think it's the most stressful thing to move in home. It shouldn't be. Our Google reviews at Avocado say different, and hopefully those questions will help you when you're looking to get a valuation done on your property.